There's something interesting that happens when people hit their mid-50s. You start to feel like you finally got momentum. The mortgage is smaller, the kids are more independent, the savings are adding up. For the first time in decades, the future doesn't feel so far away. But that's exactly when the most costly financial mistakes tend to happen. Not because people are careless, but because they assume they have more time than they actually do. Especially when it comes to taxes. Because at 55, the window to reposition your income, your investments, and your retirement assets is open, but not for long. If you wait until you're ready to retire, to think about tax efficiency, it's already too late to fix most of it. Hi, I'm Tom Porteous, Senior Wealth Advisor at CG Wealth Management. If you're approaching that 55 mark and want to make sure you're not walking into these hidden tax traps, feel free to book a quick call using the link in the description below. Now let's talk about the 3 big tax mistakes I see people make at this exact stage, and why the smartest moves often happen before you retire, not after. Mistake number 1, ignoring the tax window between 55 and 71. When you turn 55, you're not just entering the final decade before retirement, you're entering the most valuable tax planning window of your entire life. It's the period where your income is still strong, your dependents are usually gone, and you still have full control over how to draw income later. But here's the catch. Most people don't realize that this window closes the moment you convert your RSPs into a RRIF, which you must do by age 71. After that, you lose flexibility. You can't decide when to take income. You're forced to take it. You can't decide how much to withdraw. The government tells you. And you can't avoid the tax hit that comes with it. So, if you wait until your 60s or 70s to start drawing strategically, you've missed years of opportunity. The smart move? Start managing your RSP withdrawals early, ideally between ages 55 and 65, while you still have room to maneuver. That could mean making partial RSP withdrawals in lower income years, doing RRSP to RRIF conversions gradually, or using your TFSA and non-registered accounts to smooth out income and stay in lower tax brackets. Because the goal isn't to avoid taxes entirely, it's to spread them out over time rather than face one massive tax bill later. Here's what that tax looks like in real life. I worked with a client, mid-50s, high income, lots saved in RSPs. He'd figure he'd just leave it all until 71 to avoid paying tax now. But when we ran the numbers, waiting would have pushed his RRIF withdrawals so high that his annual income in his 70s would have been much higher than when he was working, which meant more tax and even OAS clawbacks. By drawing down a portion of his RSPs now and balancing that with TFSA growth, he'll save hundreds of thousands in lifetime taxes without reducing his retirement income $1. That's the power of the tax window, but only if you use it. Mistake 2, forgetting that future withdrawals are fully taxable. At 55, your RSP looks like a safety net. It's your reward for years of saving. And it's easy to think of that balance, maybe 800 grand, $1 million or more, as money you can spend. But here's what most people miss. Every dollar in that RSP belongs to 2 people, you and the CRA. RSP withdrawals are taxed as ordinary income, just like your paycheck. So if you take out 50,000, you don't get 50 grand, you might only keep 35 grand, depending on your bracket. That means your $1 million RSP might only be worth 650 to 700,000 after tax. And when both spouses pass away, if there's no rollover available, the entire remaining balance can be taxed in 1 year, sometimes at rates exceeding 50%. That's why your goal at 55 shouldn't just be to grow your RSP, it should be to control when and how it's taxed. Here's the good news, you still have options. You can begin strategic withdrawals in low income years to reduce your future tax exposure. You could convert small portions to a RRIF gradually before 71. Shift new contributions towards TFSAs or corporate investments that give you more flexibility later on. The mistake isn't having too much in your RSP, it's having all of your wealth trapped inside it. The people who retire most confidently aren't the ones with the biggest RSPs, they're the ones with the most balanced income streams. Mistake number 3, not planning for the tax impact of government benefits. This one surprises almost everyone, because when you hit 55, CPP and OAS still feel far away. You figure you'll deal with it when you get there. But the timing of when you start these benefits and how they interact with your taxable income can make or break your plan. For instance, if your income in retirement is too high, your old age security can be clawed back starting around $90,000 of your net income. That means the higher your RRIF withdrawals, the smaller your OAS benefit. So if you wait until 71, build up large RSPs, and then start both CPP and OAS at the same time, you might trigger higher taxes and reduced benefits for decades. By contrast, if you start drawing some RSP income earlier, say in your 60s, you may actually lower your long-term taxes and keep your OSA intact. You can even delay CPP or OAS to age 70, which increases your guaranteed inflation-adjusted income by more than 40%. That creates a strong foundation of tax-efficient income for your later years, while your investment withdrawals taper off. So the mistake isn't starting CPP or OAS too soon or too late, it's starting them without coordination. Because at 55, you still have 10 or 15 years to line up these income streams so they work together, not against each other. Why these mistakes happen? Most of these mistakes aren't caused by bad advice. They happen because the financial system rewards saving, but doesn't teach you how to unwind what you've built. We spend our working lives being told to maximize RSPs, defer income, reduce taxes today. But at some point, usually around 55, that strategy needs to flip. The question changes from, how do I save more, to how do I get this money out efficiently? And that's where clarity becomes far more valuable than growth. Because if you structure your withdrawals, taxes, and benefits strategically, you can often extend your savings by 5, 10, even 15 years without earning a dollar more in returns. At 55, you're standing at the most strategic crossroad in your financial life. You have control over when to draw income, how to reduce taxes, and how to shape your future cash flow, but only for a limited time. Ignore it, and taxes will eventually make those choices for you. Use it wisely, and you can retire with more income, more flexibility, and far less stress. So here's the summary. Mistake number 1. Ignoring your tax window between 55 and 71, the years where planning matters most. Mistake number 2. Forgetting that RSP withdrawals are fully taxable and not balancing them with other accounts. Mistake number 3. Overlooking how CPP, OAS, and RRIF income can interact and trigger higher taxes or clawbacks. Each one is avoidable. Each one can be corrected if you start early. If you'd like to review your own plan and make sure these mistakes aren't quietly forming in the background, feel free to book a quick call using the link below. We'll look at your income, we'll look at the sources of your taxes, and your timing to help ensure your next 10 years are set up for the decades that follow. Because in the end, retirement isn't about saving the most money, it's about keeping the most after tax. And that clarity, when you find it, is what turns uncertainty into confidence.